So today we're going to be turning some cardboard into Ezra Bridger's blaster saber. Start by cutting a cardboard tube to 8 inches in length, and then you want to give the whole thing a coating of metallic black paint. You can leave the very end of it plain because that'll be covered up later anyway. And then you want to cut 9 thin strips of 2mm craft foam and take a piece of silver foil. You can also use aluminum foil, but I like the adhesive foil because the backing is adhesive. And so lay your strips out on that, leaving a little bit of space in between each one. And then just cut those individual strips out one by one. And you want to cut off the silver so that it's flush with the edges of the foam. You also want to make sure that the piece of foam stays a little bit curved so that the foil doesn't crinkle when you glue it around the tube in a minute. So just cut the edges and leave a little strip on the end of adhesive foil so it can stick to itself. And then you just want to wrap it around the black part of the tube about an inch up from the bottom. Wrap it around the tube and stick it to itself with the extra silver that you left there. You can either glue these in place or leave them free floating if you want. I ended up leaving mine free floating so I could adjust them later. So once you've got all 9 on, take a large piece of silver foil, and you want that so it'll go halfway down the tube. So just wrap it around and seal it to itself. Then take a pair of scissors and cut off any excess so that the foil is flush with the edge of the tube. And so then you can adjust the rings so that half is covered with silver foil and the rings go up to meet the foil. So then take a bottle cap and you just want to wrap some silver foil around it. Wrap a piece around the edges and again cut off any excess so it's the same height as the bottom of the bottle cap. And then you'll take another piece of foil and stick that to the flat top side of the cap and cut off the excess so that you have a nicely silver colored bottle cap. Put a little bit of glue in the bottom of that. You need to use multi-surface glue for this because hot glue doesn't stick that well to plastic. And then just glue that onto the bottom of the tube. So then you want to cut out this weird little piece with the wings. I do have a template for this, but you may have to adjust it depending on the diameter of your cardboard tube. And you just glue that around your cardboard tube most of the way, but leave the middle space open, put a little bit of glue in there, and cut a rectangle from 5mm craft foam, and stick that right in the center between the 2 wings, and put a little bit of glue on the edge of the wings to hold them securely in place. Make sure that they're even. Then take a plastic black pony bead, put a little bit of glue on that. Again, you'll have to use multi-surface glue, and stick that right in that black foam piece. You want it to kind of be even with the center of the wings. Take a plastic square bead and wrap some copper wire through it. Twist the edges to make a hanger, and then cut some squares of black craft foam. You could also use black electrical tape, but I needed the craft foam to enhance the width of my square actually, so it would fit in between the wings. So cover 3 sides of that with craft foam. You can leave the other 3 plain because they'll be covered by the wings. And just slide that in, making sure that the wire loop is in the bottom. Glue that in between the wings. Then cut out 4 or 5 of these pieces, depending on the thickness of your cardboard, and glue those together into a large stack. The stack should be wide enough to fit perfectly in between the wings. And then you just want to cover the entire stack with silver foil. So as you're going around the different angles, you can cut it to size and then just wrap the sides down around. And you'll do that just a little bit at a time, going over each of the awkward angles, and then the long pieces, and then the sides until you've got the whole thing covered. You can leave the top inch or so because that will get covered later. Put some glue on the wings, again multi-surface glue, and glue the wings right around that silver colored stack of cardboard. Make sure the bottom sticks out just a little bit beyond the wings. So then cut these 2 pieces out of some cardboard or craft foam, and then cut a rectangle. This one you'll have to cut out of craft foam so it can curve. And you want to glue that so that it follows the curve in those other pieces, just like that. And then put a little bit of glue on the other side, and take the other piece and sandwich it, again following the curve in there. And then once that has dried, you can cut off any excess craft foam from that rectangle, just like that. And then cut another piece of cardboard or craft foam and stick that right in between on the flat side. So then this weird odd-shaped little piece here, you're just going to put some glue on that and glue that right over the top of the stack, sliding it down until the edge is the same height as the tube on the other side. So then you'll cut out these pieces. I cut 2 out of cardboard and 2 out of craft foam because I ran out of cardboard the same thickness. So the craft foam was actually the same thickness. Put one of those little pieces with the leg so that the leg sticks up beyond the top a little bit. Glue that on. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, I'm using a piece of craft foam on this side because I ran out of cardboard of the right thickness. So then the tombstone shaped piece, glue one of those on so that the edges extend just to the back side of the tube, and same on the other side. And then use a little multi-surface glue to make sure those stay glued to the tube. Take a rectangle of cardboard or foam, put some glue on the sides and on the middle, and glue that just on the other side of the cardboard tube. And then take a piece of thin cardstock and glue that across the top in between all the pieces. On the bottom you want to cut one with a curve so that it can fit around the tube, and glue that on the underside. And then take another piece and glue that along the remaining open edges there so that it's the same. And then cover the entire thing in 3 coats of white school glue, just the cardboard and the foam, don't cover the silver foil. And once that's dry, cover it in several coats of teal paint until the entire thing is fully covered. And then once the teal paint is dry, you might also want to cover it with some clear varnish just to shine it up a bit. Makes it look a little bit better. So then take a long strip of craft foam and cover that in gold foil and wrap that around the bottom of the tube where it hits the teal. This was actually copper, but I just used gold foil because that's what I happen to have on hand. So mine is gold. Then take some very thin strips of black electrical tape. You can also use paint if you want, but I like the crisp lines of the tape. And you just want to put on the little black line designs that go on the silver part in the middle there with the vertical pieces and the horizontal pieces coming back to the vertical all the way around there. Then take some kind of silver button and some kind of plastic red gem and just glue that where the trigger will be, below that gold circle. Then I took 2 plastic silver beads and glued one on either side of the teal. Then you want to cut that dial piece and paint it red, and glue another plastic silver bead onto the round part of the dial and glue the dial right onto the teal. Then cut a rectangle of 5mm craft foam, cover it in silver foil, and glue that onto the flat edge of the teal. And then you'll cut a square, well, it's slightly rectangle, but it's almost square, and then 2 rectangles with a little bit of a square cut out of the ends. So it kind of looks like steps. Glue one on each side of the teal, and then glue the bigger piece right on top of those so it sticks out a little bit from the end. Then cover a craft foam circle in gold, and glue that onto the open end of the teal, and cut a slightly smaller silver circle and glue that right in the middle of the gold. And there's your blaster port. So then cut the little egg-shaped piece out of some 5mm craft foam, and out of 2mm craft foam, cut the little piece that goes around it, and then just glue that whole thing on the top. And then a silver-covered piece of craft foam can just get glued right in the center of that, and that will be your lightsaber beam emitter. And so then here is the entire completed lightsaber, and now let's see what happens when Ezra uses it in action.
My skills surpass yours, Ezra. You will never beat me with the saber.
Okay,